Welcome back to the Into the Storm podcast, the official sports podcast of the Goldey-Beacom Lightning College baseball team. I'm your host, Anthony Lentrio, and for today's first guest, I'm joined by number 2 outfielder Matt Benner. Matt, how you doing today?
Good. How are you, Ant?
Living the dream, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, so Matt Benner, he's got .422 on base percentage this year. He's got 4 outfield assists, and he made a huge throw to gun down a runner at the plate during Game 1 against Felician this past weekend. Matt, first question I have for you. We talked about this with Meach a few weeks ago, but it seems like all the outfielders really take pride in throwing the baseball. So, what do you attribute to your success in making a throw from the outfield to the infield?
Yeah, I mean, Meach especially fires me up. He throws everybody out, it feels like. So, having him out and left, that kind of sets the standard for the rest of us. Chich, Mar, me, and we all have assists. So, we all take pride in throwing the ball. It's something we work on a lot in practice. As far as in the game when it comes to throwing a guy out, it's just staying relaxed, just making the play, not trying to do too much, not trying to throw it too hard because that's when you sail it. But yeah, it's really fun throwing a guy out. So.
All right, next question we got. You've done a really good job at finding your way on base this year. So can you kind of just walk us through your focus and your approach while stepping into the batter's box?
Yeah. I'm not the biggest guy, so I'm just trying to get on base every at bat. I'm not trying to leave the yard every time. So just trying to work counts, see the pitches that I want. I love bunting. That's a big way I love to get on base.
During the
so I mean, if the third baseman's back, I can always just drop it down. Yeah. So that's an easy way to get on base. At this level, a lot of guys will just walk you on 4 pitches, which is I've seen a lot this year. So just not swinging at balls that aren't in the strike zone. Yeah. Working at bats. And just, playing my game, bunting, getting on base any way I can.
Yeah, and then another thing I noticed is that you arrive to the field for practice or games pretty early every day. Yeah. So can you kind of just walk us through your process of getting ready for practice or even a game?
Mm-hmm. As far as getting there early, I mean, it's just something I do with everything, whether it's class, practice, going home. I like to go home early to see my parents whenever. Yeah. I don't know, just being everywhere early or on time or early at least. But prepping for a game, I mean, with practice, being there early, being the first one there is important to me. I don't really think there's that much to it. It's just get to the field and do what you have to do and then get out of there.
All right, Matt, well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on, bro. Have a great day.
Appreciate it. Yep, you too.
Next guest here, I'm joined with Luke Dresmecki. Luke is a pitcher here at Goldey-Beacom College, and hitters are only batting 182 against him on the year. Doc, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Chilling, you know. All right, so you provided a big boost this weekend against Felician with 2 scoreless innings. What was your focus on attacking their lineup?
Yeah, getting ahead early and staying ahead early. Don't fall behind in counts. Really just let my defense play behind me and just try to throw as many strikes as possible.
Then I've noticed this year coming out of the bullpen, you've been asked to pitch at some really important times in some big games this year. So, how do you prepare yourself mentally and physically for games? And, what do you do to stay focused and confident during, a high-pressure game and, a tough situation?
Yeah, I try to, slow everything down in my head. I want to keep my breathing under control, really, and just honestly just go out there and throw. Don't let everything hang out. Don't hold anything back, and just try to strike everyone out.
So, if you're going into a tight game versus a non-tight game, is your approach the same, through that, or are you taking, a different approach?
It's the same approach every time I'm out there, I'm trying to get 3 outs every time, trying to strike everybody out. I want as many Ks as possible. If not, then I'm going to let my guys behind me do the work.
For a final question, this is something that I'm curious to know. I know that you're from California,
yes,
and most of the team is from just within a few hours of the school radius. So how did you end up here? And how has being part of the baseball team here impacted your experience with college and even your personal growth?
Yeah, long story. I'm gonna keep it short, but I ended up moving to Virginia my senior year of high school, and coach reached out. I liked the school, and then coming out here, definitely a different lifestyle of baseball and just lifestyle in general. But so far, I love it here. People are great. School's awesome, and I can't wish to be anywhere else.
Yeah, it's awesome, Luke. Well, thank you for your time, bro. Have a great day, and congrats on the good season.
Appreciate you.
I'm now joined by Coach Trey. Coach Trey is an associate head coach here at Goldey-Beacom College. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Anthony. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming on and taking some time to be here.
Of course.
Coach, to start us off, can you tell us a little bit about your coaching philosophy and what you hope to instill in your players?
Yeah, so I think it's pretty basic. my coaching philosophy, I want the guys to know that I care about them. I think that if we can kind of break bread and meet middle ground on where they're at and see what they want to accomplish in their career, because really it's about them. And then my goal was to just get the most out of each player, on the baseball field, but then personally as well. And I've been fortunate that we have some really good kids here, some really fun individuals that I enjoy spending my time with. So that's kind of my overall coaching philosophy.
Yeah, and then I know one of the many hats you wear in the coaching staff is the offense, where we lead the CAC in runs scored, doubles, and home runs. How do you feel about the offensive performance so far this season, and how do you measure the success on the offensive side?
Offensively this season, I'm happy with where we're at. I'm excited for where we're going. This has been a completely different offense than we've had in years past, and kind of a little bit different offensive philosophy that I've had in the past. We've always been able to hit the long ball, even in year one when we were still swinging wood bats, archaic wood bats. We've always focused on being able to leave the yard and drive the baseball on extra base hits. But as we've kind of progressed, we still want to do those things, but now we're just way more athletic. We run more. We're stealing a ton of bases, and that's a lot different than who I was as a player. And then my kind of philosophy coaching has evolved, where like now that player is the player that we kind of seek out. So it's been a fun ride, changing. If you look at last year's team into this year's team, last year's team didn't steal many bases. We hit a ton of bombs. We would leave the yard every game. I think we only had a few games where we didn't have a home run. And this year we're not hitting for as much juice, but we're stealing more bases. We're hitting more doubles. We're a lot more dynamic of an offense. So I'm excited for where we're at right now.
It's awesome. And I know you've been here pretty much the entirety of the Goldey-Beacom baseball history. Can you talk about a particularly memorable moment or like a special game that was meaningful to you as a coach since you've been here?
Yeah, I think every year there's moments and there's games that are special to each individual group. And I think the one that really stands out that, over the program's history is that first regional win. Just because, that first group of kids we had when myself, Skip, and the other guys that we had on staff recruited those guys, we promised them that, come here, you're going to have a chance to win by the time you're done. We were able to get in the conference tournament that second year, and then, that fourth year, we really broke through, and we had a really good squad. I guess it was the fifth year kind of because of COVID, but we went to the regional and we had a good showing, went 2-2. We won that first regional game. And for me, that was just, we delivered on what we promised. Mm-hmm. Those kids really believed in us and what we were telling them. And it's hats off to them. They worked so hard. So that was probably the one that if I had to pick one, but then there's been so many, even this year, just special moments, walk-offs, big comebacks, crazy games, and guys kind of coming into their own, getting to see the progression and growth of each individual guy. But the one that sticks out for me is the regional. I think getting there and winning that first game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good one. A couple more questions for you, Coach. Coach, what do you think sets Goldey-Beacom College's baseball program apart from the others, and what do you hope to achieve with the team in the coming seasons?
I think the story is unwritten for this team still, so that's exciting. So I'm looking forward to finishing out this season and what that has ahead of us. We have a couple weeks left in the regular season and then postseason play, which is really what it's all about. But I think what, your original question, what sets us apart, I just think is the continuity in the staff. When you look at like how long some of us have been together, me and Skip for 7 years, myself, Skip, and Coach Payton for 6. Coach Marriott, Bill's been with us for a couple years. Tommy Cockle's been with us for a couple years. So we have 7 coaches. We have a couple new guys this year, but continuity amongst the staff, and then just the clarity in the message and what we care about. We want them to be good people, but we want our team to have the most fun of anybody in the country. We want to play really good baseball. we want to love our teammates.
Yeah.
And those are really what we focus on. And I just think that it's so genuine. And other programs I've been in and seen, it may be not be the case. It's all about winning. And don't get me wrong, I care about winning, and I want to win every game. And I think, we're going to win a lot of games. But I think you do that with people, and you do that in being true to yourself. And I think that that's really what sets us apart, from other programs. And then going forward, I think, what do I see in our school and our program and our ball club and what we've built? And I say we because those guys in that first year coming all along, continual 30-win team. I think we're going to get there. I think that's the benchmark for us, is to win 30 games year in and year out. And then, turn around, and when you do that, I think that sets you up for what I talked about, where postseason play, the most fun time of the year. Guys aren't in class anymore. They don't, you're just hanging out, playing ball with your boys, and some of the best baseball that you're probably going to play, in your entire life, when you talk about the quality of it and the impact it has. So that's what I see kind of going forward.
No better feeling in the postseason. Then, Coach, to wrap it up, I know you have a fairly young family. How do you balance the demands of coaching with the other aspects of your life, such as family and your other job responsibilities?
Oh man, that's probably a question you should ask my wife, honestly, see how I do with that. It's something that as I get older, I feel like I've done a better job of. This year, I always joke that the guys and myself were like a fine wine, get better with age. Shout out to Skip, fine wine. But yeah, I've gotten better as I've gotten older. This year's the best job I've done in handling it, and I have my wife and my son Braden, who's 4, and Ryan, who will be 1 this week. That a great support system at home, but that's a lot to juggle. And I think that, having people around you, it takes a village to raise a family, and I think having the right people around you that are supportive of what we're kind of building here, and supportive of, my family at home, have been a huge help. And then the most exciting part, this year, obviously the guys and winning games and everything that we've accomplished so far is just like, my son's at the age where he can be around it, and then he loves it. And for our guys, it's so important for me, for my son to be around them, to see them as a role model, because to him, those guys are his Bryce Harper. I mean, he knows who Bryce Harper is, but he might meet him once, but that's who he looks up to, is our guys. So it's really special for him to be in the dugout, and when I've taken him on the road and see that different stuff. And then I think it gets back to, it all circles back to the previous question, where it's like, well, what makes our program special? It is genuine. They get to see me in a light other than coach. They get to see me as dad and how I interact with my son. And I like to think that I treat our guys and our players just like I do my son. I care about them, as much. I love my son to death, and I love our guys. So that's been special, and that helps me juggle it, being able to have him around and have him a part of it.
Yeah. No, it's awesome, Coach. Well, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on the show.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Go Bolts.
Go Bolts.